What is up, everybody? Chris Flick here. Today we're going to be talking about this idea: coach them all. All right? Nothing really gets me more fired up, more annoyed, what grinds my gears, right, is hearing about kids getting cut from sports, kids being discouraged to go out for sport, kids saying you're not big enough, you're too slow, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? That stuff I don't like, all right? Because what you're doing then is you're not allowing that kid to learn the wonderful things that are associated with sport. Being on a team, cleaning up the field, setting up the field, filling water bottles, helping an injured player off the field, dealing with a ref or a coach or another parent that is, in your view, treating you unfairly, right? Learning how to handle those situations, right? Learning how to win, learning how to lose, learning how to plan and prepare for the whole season, right? Keeping the big picture in mind and hopefully, in the end, learning how to be a resilient young individual. So when you start robbing kids of this, you're planting negative seeds, negative sport experience, negative physical activity experience in their mind. And that kid has the power to influence others, right? Hey, I just got cut, that coach is mean, I was a backup, I'm not gonna go out for that sport. Maybe they encourage their friend not to go out and then they join something else, right? And then there's like a ripple effect into the school, into the community, right? The more negative seeds that you plant, the more likely those seeds are going to grow into something, right? Like a flower, they're going to sprout, right? And it's going to become a bigger issue. So you want to eliminate those negative experiences, not only for that one kid, but if you're trying to build a program where you're going to be there for 5, 8, 10 years, right? Where you want to win in the long term, you want to limit those negative things and only plant positive seeds, right? So how do you plant positive seeds? You coach them all, right? If you're a parent, let's look for coaches, right? Let's look for coaches in organizations, where they actually care about the bottom part of the roster, all right? And by bottom, I mean those kids that just aren't quite varsity ready yet, or those kids that just aren't quite ready to make the club team, right? Those kids matter. Those kids are gonna be practice. They're gonna be teammates, number one, and they have the ability to encourage and be there for their teammates, right? That's a powerful thing. Sometimes those kids are having the starters having a tough day. A pat on the back from their buddy who is not the best player on the team could go a long way, right? So you have that side of things, right? And then if you could coach those kids and you could develop those kids, down the line here, they're gonna be impact players for you, all right? Not all of them, but some of them will. So if you're a parent, let's try to eliminate these negative sport environments by just not sending our kids there, right? Find the right fit for them. And, if it's a local town thing, if it is, you don't have a choice, this is the community I live in, this is my only option, maybe you don't participate in that given sport. Maybe you have to go seek out some other things, all right? Because you don't want to push your kid into that negative experience. Head coaches now. We're going to be talking about the head coach. It is your job to build a winning program, right? A winning organization. So what do you have to do? You have to lift up your ceiling, right? If you have, starters, non-starters down here, if this gap is this big, you're not going to have a solid team. You want to lift the floor up, right? Those kids that are starters are great, all right? You're going to get some good effort out of them, hopefully. You stay on them, right? But you need some assistant coaches. You need some people that are going to give attention to the other kids, right? Some kid just might need a little attention from the right coach at the right time for them to totally change their mindset and become a team player, right? But if you don't have coaches on your staff, all right, to do that, then those kids are going to just go by the wayside, right? Head coach, you want to make sure your team is organized. You're doing the paperwork. You got the schedule in place. You're showing up when you're supposed to show up. You're making sure your starters are ready. We're making sure that our game plan is good, right? But then you can't have assistant coaches doing the same stuff you're doing. You need those assistant coaches to go around, like morale boosting, crack some jokes, connect with the younger players, connect with the inexperienced players, all right? You need some guys, everybody needs to have their own little role. They need to have different roles. It doesn't mean those people can't coach the starters, right? But they know that they're an assistant. They know what their role is going to be in the beginning, and they need to just do their role to the best of their ability. And by doing that, it's getting to know everybody. It's trying to teach skills. It's eliminating the standing around at practice, right? You need some assistant coaches that are going to engage those on the side. Maybe talk to them about some plays. Maybe get them practicing a few things here and there, right? Trying to add a little bit of repetition here. So again, we could lift up the floor, all right? And then that's going to make our team better, because better backup players is going to make our starters stronger, right? Iron sharpens iron, that kind of thing, right? We need to bring everybody up one notch. And then young coaches. If you're a young coach, this was my favorite thing to do. Head coaching kind of stinks. You have a lot of logistical stuff you have to take care of. But if you're a young coach, you could have the power to impact you can make the biggest impact on your team by working with those kids that don't really get a lot of attention, right? So let's just say there's a kid that's a 3 out of 10 in the sports skill department, right? And you can bring that kid from a 3 to a 6 over the course of a season, right? And that ability, that 3-point jump, right, from 3 to 6 is going to make a huge impact not only on that kid's life, but on the team, right? You have the ability to show some kids that are novice, inexperienced, that don't have the confidence, and you could just build and build and build and build. And that is the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done as a coach. When I was coaching wrestling, we would get some new kids out, and I'm weighing, 190 to 200 pounds at the time. So we'd find a junior high kid that played football and was a bigger dude, right? Hey, come on out. These kids don't have confidence. They're a little chubby. They don't move well, right? But I would spend, there's 4 to 6 kids in this group, right? And I would just wrestle around, show them 3 to 5 moves. Let's understand that there's some non-negotiables in the sport of wrestling, and let's make sure we have those covered, okay? And then from there, let's really try to excel in these areas, and then we could build skill later, right? But let's try to get a little bit better at the non-negotiable things, the little things. Can we get a takedown? Can we hold a person down? Can we show them 1 or 2 finishing moves, right? Because once you put somebody on their back, you want to put them away. Things like that. And some of these kids, man, they turn into being great high school wrestlers, 25-plus winners, right? And they went from never wrestling to having a coach, having junior high coaches that actually cared enough where we would have 2 to 4 guys in the room, and those 2 to 4 guys try to give attention to everybody. The lightweights got attention. The inexperienced got attention. The advanced kids got attention. And when you do that, when you're able to do that, you can keep kids out for the team, you can keep them engaged in the sport, and you can build a winning program. In football, right? Football is the same idea. Coaching junior varsity was great. Let's hammer the basics. Let's make sure, every sport has non-negotiables, right? So let's make sure, let's identify what those are. In football, can we tackle? Can we protect the football? Can we not turn it over? All right, and can we block? All right, let's make sure we know that, okay? From there, let's make sure we know our fundamental, our foundational plays. So when I'm coaching JV, man, we had like 6 to 8 plays, and that was that. That's all we ran, week in and week out. Let's just make sure we know what plays we're doing, what is important for our varsity coaches, right? What are the plays we run at the next level? And let's make sure we got those things down, because in a year or 2, we're gonna be playing varsity football. That is where you make the biggest impact with those inexperienced kids. If you're a young coach, take on that role. Yeah, it would be great to coach the superstars, but guess what? Those superstars are already getting coached, man. They're already getting the attention. Let's give it to those people that don't get the attention, all right? And when we do that, we build a team, we build a program, we coach them all, we keep them all out for the sport, and then not only do we build, champions on the field, but we plant those positive sport experiences in those kids, and then hopefully that carries over into being physically active adults, all right? Not only, they're not just defined as being an athlete, but they understand that if I could put in work, if I could work on a team, if I could handle some adversity, right, I'm going to be a winning adult. I'm going to be a winning person in college, high school, in life, whatever it may be. Peace, everybody.